You're my friend's father. This is insane. The words came out of Amara Cole's mouth sharp and fast, like she could slice the air between them and make this moment disappear if she said them loud enough. She was already moving when she spoke, backing away until the edge of her small kitchen counter pressed into her hips. Her heart was pounding so hard it felt like it might crack her ribs open. Jun Seo didn't move. That was what scared her most. He stood just inside the doorway of her apartment, suit jacket still on, dark hair slightly damp from the rain outside. The city lights from Miru District filtered in through the narrow window behind her, throwing shadows across his face. His hands were clenched at his sides, veins standing out like he was holding himself together by force alone. "I know," he said quietly. Not denial, not surprise, just acceptance. Amara laughed once, short and broken. "You can't just say that like it makes sense. She swallowed. You're Esirin's father. You're twice my age. You shouldn't even be standing here. And yet, I am." Her chest tightened. Why? For a long moment, Jun Seo didn't answer. His eyes moved over her face slowly, deliberately, like he was committing her to memory all over again. The look made her skin prickle, heat spreading down her spine, even though fear should have been the only thing she felt. "Because I tried not to come," he said. "And I failed." Something in his voice, low, restrained, threaded with something dangerously close to desperation, made her breath hitch. She pressed her palms against the counter behind her. "This isn't a movie. This doesn't end well. I moved here to start over, not to." She gestured between them, words failing her. "Not to get dragged into whatever this is." Jun Seo took one step forward. Just one. The air shifted. It felt heavier, charged, like the moment before lightning strikes. "What is it then?" he asked. "Say it." She shook her head. "Don't say it." Her voice cracked when it came out. "Every time Esirin talks about you, I feel sick. Because I'm thinking about the way you look at me when you think I'm not paying attention. About the way your voice drops when you say my name. About that dinner." She stopped herself, mortified, heat flooding her face. His jaw tightened. "The night you wore white." Her eyes snapped back to his. "You remember that?" "I remember everything." That should have terrified her. Instead, her pulse jumped. He closed the distance until there was barely a foot between them. He still didn't touch her. Didn't need to. His presence alone was enough. The faint scent of rain and something darker clung to him, wrapping around her senses. "You're shaking," he said softly. "I'm angry," she shot back. "Yes," he agreed. "And you're not afraid." Her breath stuttered. She hated that he was right. What Amara didn't know yet, what she couldn't possibly understand in that moment, was that Jun Seo hadn't just been fighting temptation. He'd been counting days. And in his world, counting days always ended in blood. Welcome back to Afro-Korean Chronicle TV, bestie. Happy New Year, and welcome officially to 2026. If you love intense, emotional stories that blur the line between love and danger, you're in the right place. Settle in because this story only gets darker from here. Amara met Esirin 3 months earlier in a cramped language exchange cafe near the university. She'd spilled coffee all over her notebook, cursed under her breath, and Esirin had laughed like it was the best thing she'd seen all day. "You're new here," Esirin had said, handing her napkins. "You have that look." "What look?" "Like the city hasn't decided whether to swallow you yet." They became inseparable faster than Amara expected. Esirin showed her where to eat cheap food at 2 a.m., how to navigate the subway without getting lost, which neighborhoods felt safe, and which ones only pretended to be. She never talked much about her father, just that he traveled a lot and that their relationship was complicated. So when Esirin dragged Amara to a family dinner, Amara went in blind. The penthouse had been all glass and quiet power. Men in dark suits. Women who looked like they'd never raised their voices in their lives. Amara had felt out of place in her simple dress, fingers curling into the fabric like she might disappear if she held on tight enough. And then she saw him. Jun Seo stood near the windows, phone pressed to his ear, posture relaxed in a way that suggested nothing in the room could touch him without permission. When his eyes lifted and landed on her, the noise around her faded. It wasn't hunger. It wasn't flirtation. It was recognition. Later, when Esirin introduced them, he'd shaken her hand for exactly 1 second too long. Amara, he'd said, careful with her name. Welcome. She hadn't slept that night. Now, standing in her apartment with the echo of his confession still ringing in her ears, Amara felt the weight of every moment that had led here pressing down on her lungs. This can't happen, she said again, softer now. Junseo's expression changed. Something raw flickered across his face before he buried it beneath control. I didn't come here to ask for permission. Her stomach dropped. Then why did you come? To tell you the truth. His voice lowered. And to leave before I do something I can't undo. The honesty in that statement chilled her more than any threat could have. A sudden vibration broke the tension. Junseo's phone. He glanced at the screen, and whatever he saw there wiped the last trace of softness from his face. His shoulders squared. His eyes hardened. What? Amara asked, nerves flaring. He answered the call, without looking away from her. Speak. There was silence on his end, then a sharp intake of breath. His fingers curled around the phone like he might crush it. Understood, he said. Do nothing without my word. He ended the call and looked at her like he was seeing her for the last time. You need to lock your door tonight, he said. If anyone knocks, you don't answer. If your phone rings and it's not Esirin, you don't pick up. Her fear finally caught up to her. What's going on? His gaze softened just a fraction. I hoped you would never have to know. Know what? That the city you're standing in runs on fear. That men like me don't get to fall in love without consequences. That you are no longer invisible. But he didn't say any of that. Instead, he stepped back, creating space that felt like loss. I'll see you soon, he said. And then he was gone. Amara stood there long after the door closed, heart racing, mind spinning. She told herself she was overreacting, that he was dramatic, that this was just a complicated man with poor boundaries. Then, 2 hours later, her lights flickered, and the knock came. Not gentle, not polite, deliberate, calculated. Amara froze, staring at the door as her phone buzzed in her hand with a single unknown number flashing across the screen. She didn't know yet that this was the moment everything truly began. And if you think you know where this is going, stay with me. Because the next decision Amara makes will cost someone their life. The knock came again, harder this time. Amara didn't move. Her apartment suddenly felt too small, the walls closing in as her pulse thundered in her ears. The phone vibrated once more in her hand, that same unknown number lighting up the screen like a dare. Don't answer. Don't open the door. Junseo's voice echoed in her head, calm but edged with something she'd never heard before. Fear. The knock turned into pounding. Open up, a man's voice called out, muffled through the thick wood. Maintenance. Her stomach dropped. It was almost midnight. No one did maintenance at midnight. She backed away slowly, every step careful, quiet, her bare feet cold against the tile. Her gaze darted around the apartment, searching for something, anything, that could be used as a weapon. A kitchen knife. A glass bottle. Her phone buzzed again. This time, she answered. Hello. Her voice barely came out. Amara. Junseo's voice was low, urgent. Where are you right now? In my apartment, she whispered. Someone's at my door. Silence. Then, sharp and deadly. Do not open it. They said they're maintenance. They're lying. His voice hardened. Go to your bedroom. Lock the door. If they break in, go out the window. My men are already on their way. Her heart stuttered. Break in? The sound of metal scraping against wood answered that question for her. Oh my God, she breathed. Listen to me, Junseo said. You stay alive. That's the only thing that matters. The line went dead. The pounding escalated into a violent crash as something slammed into her door. Amara ran. She slammed her bedroom door shut and locked it just as the front door splintered open. The sound echoed through the apartment, loud and final. Her hands shook as she shoved her dresser against the bedroom door, muscles screaming in protest. Heavy footsteps crossed the living room. Her phone buzzed again. No name, just a message. Open the window now. She rushed to the window, hands fumbling with the latch. The alley below looked impossibly far, the streetlights casting long shadows that twisted like grasping hands. Voices rose outside her bedroom door, low and impatient. Check the back. The doorknob rattled. Amara grabbed the nearest thing within reach, a metal lamp, and held it like her life depended on it. Because it did. The door burst open. She swung. The lamp connected with a skull, the crack loud and sickening. The man went down with a grunt, but the second one was already on her, grabbing her wrist, twisting until pain shot up her arm. Feisty, he muttered. She screamed and drove her knee up, catching him off guard just long enough to break free. She bolted for the window as footsteps thundered behind her. A gunshot exploded through the room. Glass shattered. She screamed again, ducking instinctively as shards rained down around her. Her foot slipped on the broken glass, and she hit the floor hard, breath knocked from her lungs. Strong hands grabbed her shoulders. Then chaos. A body slammed into the man holding her, sending them both crashing into the wall. Another figure filled the doorway, gun raised, voice sharp and commanding. Drop it. The man froze. The second gunshot was deafening. Amara curled into herself on the floor, hands over her head, sobs tearing out of her chest as the sounds of struggle and shouting filled the room. When it finally went quiet, she stayed frozen, waiting for the worst. A shadow loomed over her. Amara. She flinched at the sound of her name, then looked up. The man standing over her was tall, broad-shouldered, his suit jacket gone, blood spattered across his white shirt. His eyes were sharp, assessing her quickly, efficiently. I'm Kang Min-soo, he said. Jun Seo sent me. Her knees gave out completely. Relief hit her so hard it felt like pain. They're gone, he continued. But we can't stay here. Her voice shook. I can't. You can. His tone softened just slightly. And you will. He helped her to her feet, steadying her when she swayed. She barely registered being wrapped in a jacket, barely felt being guided out of the apartment through the back stairwell, her ears still ringing from the gunshots. Outside, a black sedan waited with the engine running. The city blurred past the windows as they drove. Amara pressed into the leather seat, arms wrapped around herself. Her phone buzzed again. Yun Seo. She answered without thinking. I'm okay, she blurted out. They came in, but you're men. I know, he said, relief threading his voice despite his effort to control it. I'm coming for you. Minutes later felt like hours. When the car finally stopped, Min-soo opened her door and helped her out. She looked up at the towering building in front of her, glass and steel rising into the night sky. Where are we? She asked weakly. My employer's residence, Min-soo replied. Jun Seo was already waiting inside. The moment he saw her, something in him broke. He crossed the space between them in seconds, hands gripping her shoulders, eyes scanning her face, her arms, her legs. Are you hurt? I'm fine, she said, though her voice wobbled. I think. He pulled her into his chest before she could protest. The embrace was fierce, protective, nothing restrained about it. She froze for half a second, then melted into him, fingers clutching the back of his shirt as the reality of what almost happened hit her all at once. I told you to stay safe, he murmured into her hair. You sent me into that apartment knowing this could happen. She shot back, anger flaring through the fear. You don't get to act surprised. He stiffened. Slowly, he pulled back, his expression dark. You're right, he said. And that's why you're here now. They rode the elevator in silence, tension thick between them. When the doors opened, she stepped into a space that felt unreal, floor-to-ceiling windows, soft lighting, quiet power woven into every detail. This is your penthouse, she said flatly. Yes. So, this is the world you didn't want me to know about. He turned to face her fully. This is the world that will kill you if you stay ignorant. She crossed her arms, chin lifted. Then tell me. He studied her for a long moment, then nodded once. Someone inside my organization betrayed me, he said. They couldn't reach me directly, so they came for you. Her breath caught. Because of me? Because of us, he corrected. The weight of that settled between them. Before she could respond, the elevator chimed again. Jun Seo's shoulders went rigid. Amara turned just as the doors slid open. Esserin stepped out. She froze, eyes darting from her father to Amara, to the jacket draped around her shoulders, to the blood still drying on Jun Seo's collar. What? Esserin said slowly. Is she doing here? And just like that, the danger wasn't only outside anymore. Esserin's eyes narrowed as the silence stretched. Amara felt every ounce of warmth drain from her body. The jacket on her shoulders suddenly felt heavy, accusatory. She opened her mouth to speak, but nothing came out. Jun Seo moved first. She's under my protection, he said evenly. That was the wrong thing to say. Protection. Esserin repeated, her voice rising. Why does she need your protection? And why is she here, in your house, wearing your clothes? Amara stepped forward despite the way her knees trembled. Esserin, I can explain. Explain what? Esserin snapped, eyes flashing as they locked onto Amara. Explain why my father looks like he just walked out of a crime scene? Explain why you're standing here like you belong.
Jun Seo turned sharply.
Enough. No, Esserin shot back. You don't get to shut this down. Not this time. The tension in the room was suffocating. Amara could feel it pressing against her chest, making it hard to breathe. This wasn't how she wanted Esserin to find out. Not like this. Not with blood in the air and fear still clinging to her skin. They broke into my apartment, Amara said quietly. Someone tried to hurt me. Esserin faltered, just for a moment.
What?
Jun Seo took advantage of the opening. They were sent by someone targeting me. And that explains why she's here? Esserin demanded. Yes. No, it doesn't. Esserin's voice cracked. Because this isn't the first time, is it? Amara frowned. The first time for what? Esserin laughed bitterly. My father bringing a woman half his age into his mess. Jun Seo's expression hardened. That's not fair. What's not fair, Esserin shot back, is pretending this is about safety when it's about you crossing lines you always cross. Amara's stomach twisted. What does that mean? Esserin turned to her, eyes sharp and unforgiving. It means you're not special. It means I've seen this before. Jun Seo stepped between them. You don't know what you're talking about. I know exactly what I'm talking about, Esserin said. Women who come too close. Women who think they understand you. Women who end up hurt. Amara's chest tightened. Esserin, I didn't plan this. Didn't you? Esserin challenged. You didn't notice the way he looks at you? You didn't feel it. Amara swallowed hard. Lying felt wrong. The truth felt worse. I noticed, she admitted. The room went deadly quiet. Jun Seo's head snapped toward her, surprise flickering across his face. Amara. I noticed, she repeated, stronger this time. And I tried to ignore it. Esserin's face crumpled, pain breaking through the anger. So, you just decided my father was fair game? That's not. Enough, Jun Seo said again, his voice steel. Both of you. Esserin turned on him.
No.
You don't get to play the authority now. You brought this into my life. I didn't bring danger to you, he shot back. I kept it away. And failed, she said softly. The words hit him harder than anything else she'd said. Amara stood there, feeling like an intruder in a family war she never meant to ignite.
She took a step back.
I shouldn't be here. Jun Seo turned to her instantly. You're not leaving. I don't belong in this, she said, voice shaking. You see that, right? He moved closer, lowering his voice. I see that you're alive. That's all that matters. Esserin watched the exchange, her eyes filling with tears. You're choosing her. Jun Seo didn't answer. That silence was her answer. Esserin wiped her face angrily.
Fine, she said.
Then choose her. But don't pretend you're protecting anyone. She turned and walked toward the elevator without looking back. Esserin, Amara called out, panic rising.
Please.
The elevator doors slid shut. The sound echoed like a gunshot. Amara's chest heaved as she turned back to Jun Seo. You just lost her. He looked at the closed elevator doors, something like grief etched into his features. I may have lost her anyway. She shook her head. You don't get to talk like this is inevitable. You made choices. So did you, he said quietly. The words landed heavy between them. Before she could respond, Minsu appeared from the hallway, his face tight. Chairman.
Yoon Seo straightened instantly.
What is it? We have confirmation, Min-soo said. The men who broke into her apartment were not freelancers. Amara's breath caught. Then who were they? Min-soo hesitated, eyes flicking to her before returning to Jun Seo. They were sent by Chairman Park.
Yoon Seo's jaw clenched.
How many? Enough to make a statement, Min-soo replied. Amara's pulse spiked. Who is Chairman Park? Jun Seo turned to her, expression grim. The man who wants me dead. And now me too, she asked. Yes. The word landed like a verdict. Min-soo continued. There's more. Park's people intercepted one of our internal routes. That means there's a mole, Jun Seo finished. Amara felt cold all over. Someone close to you sold me out. Yes, he said. And until I find out who, you don't leave this building. She bristled. You don't get to imprison me. I don't get to bury you either, he snapped back. So you'll stay. Their eyes locked, heat flaring despite the fear coiling in her gut. You can't control everything, she said. His voice dropped dangerously low. Watch me try. Min-soo cleared his throat. Chairman, there's another issue. Jun Seo didn't break eye contact with Amara. Speak. Chairman Park contacted her phone, Min-soo said. 10 minutes ago. Amara's heart slammed against her ribs.
What?
Jun Seo turned to her sharply. Did you answer? No, she said, then hesitated. I didn't hear it. My phone was. Min-soo held up the device. He left a message. Jun Seo took the phone and pressed play. A man's voice filled the room, smooth and amused. Amara Cole. You don't know me, but I know everything about you. Where you sleep, where you work, and who you belong to. Amara's knees nearly buckled. The voice continued. Tell Jun Seo he has 24 hours. After that, I stop asking nicely. The message ended. Silence swallowed the room. Jun Seo looked at her, something dark and dangerous burning in his eyes. He shouldn't know your name. Amara's voice was barely a whisper. He does now. Jun Seo handed the phone back to Min-soo slowly. Double the security. Min-soo nodded and left. Amara wrapped her arms around herself. I didn't ask for this. No, Jun Seo said. But you're in it. She looked up at him, fear and anger, and something deeper tangling in her chest. Then tell me the truth. All of it. He studied her for a long moment, then nodded. You want to survive? Yes. Then you need to understand the man you're standing in front of. He stepped closer. And for the first time since she met him, Amara realized the most dangerous thing in the room wasn't the enemy outside. It was how badly she wanted to stay. Jun Seo didn't raise his voice when he began to speak, and somehow that made every word heavier. I didn't build what I have by being reckless, he said. I built it by knowing exactly who to trust and when to eliminate a threat. Amara swallowed. And what am I? He didn't answer immediately. He walked past her, poured a glass of water, and handed it to her without asking. His fingers brushed hers for half a second. Heat shot up her arm. You're the reason someone crossed a line they knew better than to cross, he said. That makes you leverage. She laughed, sharp and humorless. That's comforting. It's honest, he replied. Chairman Park doesn't care about you. He cares about what you represent. And what's that? She asked. He looked at her then, really looked at her.
Me.
The words settled into her chest like a stone. So what happens now? She asked. Now, he said, you stay alive while I end a war before it fully begins. She stared at him. You talk about this like it's normal. In my world, it is. She shook her head. You don't get to decide my world. His eyes darkened. You walked into it the moment you didn't walk away. That's not fair, she said. You never gave me the full truth. And now I am, he countered. Listen carefully. Chairman Park is not impulsive. He's patient. He doesn't threaten unless he already has pieces in place. Her stomach twisted. Meaning? Meaning he's already watching you, Jun Seo said. And he expects you to make a mistake. She felt suddenly exposed, like every movement she made was being tracked. What kind of mistake? Jun Seo stepped closer, lowering his voice. Trusting the wrong person. A soft knock interrupted them. Min-soo entered again, his expression tight. Chairman, we've secured the building. No unauthorized movement.
Yoon Seo nodded. Good.
Bring the file. Min-soo handed Amara a tablet before stepping back. What is this? She asked. Everyone who had access to my internal schedules over the past 3 months, Jun Seo said, including who knew where you lived. Her fingers trembled as she scrolled.
Names.
Photos. Titles. She stopped when she saw one she recognized. No, she whispered.
Yoon Seo's Geisha shoppend.
You know them. She nodded slowly. That's Esayeon's uncle. Her mother's brother. The room went still.
Yoon Seo exhaled slowly.
Then Park didn't just breach my organization. He went through your family, Amara said.
Yoon Seo's Joe Taizent.
Which means Esayeon is no longer safe. Amara's heart dropped. You have to tell her. I will, he said. But not tonight. That's your daughter, she snapped. You can't keep treating people like chess pieces. His eyes flashed. And you can't afford to be naive. They stared at each other, anger and fear crackling between them. Before either could speak again, Amara's phone buzzed in her hand. Unknown number. Her breath caught. It's him. Jun Seo's hand closed around her wrist. Don't answer. The phone buzzed again. Then again. A text appeared. I see you. Penthouse windows. Beautiful view. Amara's blood ran cold. She turned slowly toward the glass wall overlooking the city. Thousands of lights glittered back at her. I don't see anyone, she whispered. That doesn't mean he's not there, Jun Seo said. Another message came through. You look calmer when you're scared. I wonder if that's how you'll look when you beg. Amara's breath hitched. Jun Seo took the phone from her, fingers steady despite the fury burning in his eyes. He typed one message and sent it. Touch her again, and I end you. The reply came almost instantly. Then she shouldn't be so easy to reach. Jun Seo crushed the phone in his hand. Amara flinched. What are you going to do? He looked at her, something dangerous settling into place. I'm going to give him what he wants. Her heart skipped. Which is? You, he said softly. Or at least the illusion of you. She stared at him. Absolutely not. You don't have a choice. Yes, I do, she snapped. I'm not bait. He stepped closer, voice low and intense. You're already the hook. I'm deciding whether you live through this. Anger flared through her fear. You don't get to sacrifice me. And you don't get to pretend you're not already in danger, he shot back. Silence fell between them, thick and heavy. Finally, Amara spoke. What's the plan? Jun Seo studied her, surprise flickering across his face. You want to hear it? I want to survive, she said. And I want Esayeon safe. His gaze softened just slightly. Then you'll do exactly what I say. She met his eyes. Only if you promise something. What? No more half-truths, she said. If I'm walking into hell, I deserve to know who's holding the door open.
Yoon Seo nodded once.
Agreed. He turned to Min-soo. Prepare the decoy. Min-soo hesitated. Chairman.
Now. Min-soo left.
Amara hugged herself. You really think this will work? Jun Seo looked out over the city, jaw set. It has to. She took a shaky breath. And if it doesn't, he turned back to her. Then this city will remember my name for a long time. If you think Amara should have run the moment she had the chance, don't blink. Because the next move Jun Seo makes will put her directly in the hands of his enemy, and she won't see the betrayal coming until it's too late. The plan unfolded faster than Amara expected. Too fast. By dawn, the penthouse no longer felt like a sanctuary. Men moved in and out with quiet efficiency, murmured instructions slipping through the air like secrets. Screens lit up with surveillance feeds. Phones rang and stopped ringing just as quickly. Jun Seo became someone else entirely, focused, lethal, unreadable. Amara watched him from the edge of the room, arms wrapped tightly around herself. You're sure about this? She asked for the third time. Jun Seo didn't look up from the tablet in his hands.
No.
That answer startled her. Then why? Because certainty is a luxury, he said calmly. And we don't have it. Min-soo stepped in. The decoy car is ready.
Yoon Seo nodded.
Route. Exactly as Park expects. Amara's heart sank. He expects me to be in that car. Yes. And you're just okay with that? Jun Seo finally looked at her. I'm not okay with anything that's happening.
But Park believes you matter to me.
I need him to believe I'm willing to risk everything to protect you. She stared at him. You are risking everything. His gaze held hers. So are you. A knock sounded from the private corridor. One of the guards spoke quietly. She's here. Amara stiffened. Who?
Yunsio's Zeitend.
Esserin. Her pulse spiked. You didn't tell her, did you? I didn't have time, he said. But she knows something is wrong. Before Amara could respond, Esserin walked in. She looked exhausted. Her eyes were red, her hair pulled back hastily like she'd come straight from a sleepless night. When she saw Amara, her expression hardened, but beneath it was something raw and scared. Why are there armed men in my father's house? Esserin demanded. And why did I wake up to 3 missed calls telling me not to leave my apartment?
Yunseo steps forward. Esserin.
Don't, she said sharply. Just don't. Her eyes shifted to Amara. Is this because of you? Amara swallowed. Someone is trying to hurt me. Esserin scoffed. Of course they are. Jun Seo cut in. This isn't about blame.
No.
Esserin snapped. Because it feels like every time you let someone get close, the world catches fire. Amara flinched. Esserin's gaze softened for a brief second before hardening again. You should leave, she told Amara. Before this ruins your life. It already almost ended it. Amara replied quietly. Esserin froze. What? They broke into my apartment, Amara said. They had guns. The anger drained from Esserin's face, replaced by shock. What?
Yunseo nodded grimly.
That's why she's here. Esserin looked between them, realization dawning. This isn't just business, is it? Jun Seo didn't answer. That was enough. Esserin laughed bitterly. You really did it. You really crossed the line this time. I didn't plan for this, Jun Seo said. You never do, she replied. And somehow everyone else pays for it. She turned to Amara, eyes sharp again. Do you know who he is? Not what he pretends to be. Who he really is. Amara met her gaze. I'm starting to. That won't save you, Esserin said. It never does. Amara felt something twist in her chest. I never wanted to hurt you. Esserin's lips trembled. Then why does it feel like you already have? She turned and walked out. The silence she left behind felt heavier than the shouting. Amara exhaled shakily. She hates me. Jun Seo's voice was low. She's afraid. And you're okay with that? Amara asked. With losing her? He closed his eyes briefly.
No.
Then why are you still doing this? He opened his eyes and looked at her. Because stopping now won't protect anyone. Min-soo cleared his throat. Chairman, it's time. Amara's breath caught. Time for what? Jun Seo handed her a small earpiece. You're not going in the car. Her head snapped up. What? You'll be seen entering the garage, he explained. Cameras. Witnesses. Park will believe you're in the vehicle. And where will I be? She asked. His gaze held hers. Safe. Hidden. Relief flooded her, brief and sharp, until she noticed the way Min-soo avoided her eyes. What aren't you telling me? She asked.
Yunseo hesitated.
Her heart sank. Yunseo. There's a chance Park will figure it out, he admitted. If he does, he'll escalate. To what? She pressed. To taking something else from me. She swallowed. Like who? His silence answered her. Esserin, Amara whispered. Jun Seo looked away. You can't let that happen, she said fiercely. I won't, he replied. Which is why this ends today. The decoy car rolled out of the garage 30 minutes later. Amara watched the live feed, heart hammering, as the black sedan merged into traffic. Minutes passed. Then, an explosion ripped through the screen. Amara screamed. The feed cut to static. Min-soo swore under his breath. They hit it. Jun Seo's face went cold. Casualties. Unknown. Amara's legs nearly gave out. That was supposed to be empty.
Yunseo turned sharply.
Was. Her head snapped up. What do you mean, was? Min-soo spoke quietly. The driver didn't make it out in time. Amara stared at them, horror flooding her. Someone died because of me.
Yoon Seo grabbed her shoulders.
Listen to me. This is on Park. It's still blood, she said, voice breaking. And he won't stop now. Her phone buzzed. Unknown number. She answered without thinking. Stop. Chairman Park's voice was smooth, amused. You look better in person, Amara. Her blood ran cold. Where are you? Close enough, he replied. I knew the car was a lie. Your man is predictable. June Seo lunged for the phone, but she pulled it away instinctively. What do you want? She demanded. You already know, Park said. Come to me. Alone.
Yoon Seo shouted, hang up.
Park chuckled. If you don't, June Seo dies tonight. Slowly. Amara's breath hitched. You're lying. Test me, Park said. You have 1 hour. The call ended. Amara looked at June Seo, tears burning her eyes. He's not bluffing. June Seo's expression was thunderous. You're not going. I am, she said quietly.
No.
He's going to kill you, she said. And everyone around you. I won't let you trade your life for mine, he snapped. You already let someone die, she shot back. I won't let it be you. Silence crashed down between them. Finally, June Seo spoke, voice low and controlled. If you walk out that door, I may not be able to save you. Amara met his gaze. Heartbreaking. If I stay, I definitely won't. She turned toward the corridor. June Seo reached for her and stopped. Because for the first time, he understood. She wasn't his weakness. She was choosing him. And that choice was about to change everything. Amara didn't look back when she stepped into the service corridor. If she did, she knew she wouldn't leave. The hallway was quiet, the kind of quiet that hummed in her ears and made every breath sound too loud. Her footsteps echoed softly against the polished floor as Min-soo walked a few paces behind her, far enough to pretend this was her choice, close enough to make sure she didn't collapse before she reached the elevator. You don't have to do this, he said quietly. She pressed the button. Yes, I do. The elevator doors slid open. Inside, the air felt colder. Amara leaned back against the wall, staring at her reflection in the mirrored surface. Her face looked older than it had a day ago. Harder, like someone who had already survived something she wasn't supposed to. Min-soo's phone buzzed. He glanced at it and cursed under his breath. What? Amara asked. Chairman Seo has mobilized, he said. Every route. Every contingency. She swallowed. He thinks I don't know. Min-soo's eyes softened. He thinks you're being taken. She closed her eyes. I am. The elevator descended in silence. When the doors opened again, a different car was waiting. Smaller. Unmarked.
No luxury.
No illusion of safety. Amara hesitated. Min-soo opened the door. Once you get in, there's no turning back. She nodded and slid into the seat. The city passed by in a blur. Neon lights. Early morning traffic. People going about their lives, unaware that a quiet war was unfolding around them. Her phone buzzed again. Unknown number. She answered. I'm coming. Chairman Park's voice sounded pleased. Good girl. Her jaw tightened. You said alone. You are, he replied. For now. The car slowed near an industrial district on the edge of the river. Warehouses loomed like silent witnesses. The driver pulled to a stop beside an abandoned loading dock. Min-soo leaned in through the window. We'll be watching. She met his gaze. Don't let him do something stupid. Min-soo gave a tight smile. With respect, that ship sailed the moment he met you. She stepped out of the car. The door shut behind her. The car drove away. And just like that, she was alone. A figure emerged from the shadows. Chairman Park was shorter than she expected, his hair silvered at the temples, his smile easy and unthreatening. That made him more terrifying than any brute. Amara Cole, he said warmly. You came. She crossed her arms to stop them from shaking. You said June Seo would live. He will, Park said lightly. As long as you cooperate. What do you want from me? She asked. He tilted his head. You're intelligent. You know this isn't about money. Then say it. I want leverage, Park replied.
Permanent leverage.
Her stomach dropped. You want me. I want what you represent, he corrected. Proof that Jun Seo bleeds. She stared at him. You could have taken me. Yes, Park agreed. But I wanted him to know you chose this. Anger flared hot and sharp. You're sick. Park smiled.
No. I'm strategic.
He gestured toward the warehouse. Shall we? She took a step forward and froze. A sound echoed across the dock. Not loud. Controlled. A gunshot.
Park sighed. Ah.
From the far end of the loading area, chaos erupted. Black vehicles roared in from 3 directions at once. Men poured out, weapons raised, moving with ruthless precision. Jun Seo stepped out of the lead car. Amara's heart slammed against her ribs.
No.
Park laughed softly. You didn't think he'd let you come alone, did you? Jun Seo's eyes locked onto hers from across the concrete. Relief flashed there, followed by fury. Get away from her, he shouted. Park stepped closer to Amara, gripping her arm. You see, he murmured. This is why you're valuable. Jun Seo raised his gun. Let her go. Park leaned in, his breath warm against Amara's ear. Tell him to stand down. Jun Seo's voice broke. Amara, don't. She closed her eyes for half a second. Then she spoke. Put the gun down.
Yun Seo froze.
Please, she said, her voice steady despite the tears burning her eyes. Just for a second. Park smiled triumphantly. Jun Seo slowly lowered the gun. That was when everything went wrong. A shot rang out from the warehouse roof. Park's grip loosened as he staggered back, blood blooming across his chest. The world erupted. Gunfire cracked the air. Men shouted. Someone screamed. Amara dropped to the ground, covering her head as bullets sparked against concrete.
Yun Seo ran toward her, dodging fear, reaching for her.
A hand grabbed her ankle and yanked. She screamed as she was dragged behind a stack of crates. A masked man pressed a gun to her temple. Move and he dies. She looked up into unfamiliar eyes. This wasn't Park's man. Jun Seo froze mid-stride when he saw the gun at her head. Who are you? Amara whispered. The man smiled beneath the mask. The reason Park didn't see this coming. Jun Seo's voice cut through the chaos. Let her go. This was between me and Park. The man laughed. That's where you're wrong. He pressed the gun harder against Amara's skin. She's not leverage anymore. Jun Seo's blood ran cold. Then what is she? The man's eyes gleamed. She's the prize. And in that moment, Amara realized the truth. Chairman Park was never the final enemy. And the worst part? Jun Seo hadn't planned for this one at all. The gun pressed harder into Amara's temple, cold and unforgiving. Don't move, the masked man whispered. Not unless you want to watch him die. Jun Seo stood frozen 10 feet away, chaos erupting around him. His men were engaged in a brutal firefight with Park's remaining soldiers, but none of that mattered. Not when Amara was on her knees with someone else's finger on the trigger. Let her go, Jun Seo said, his voice dangerously calm. You want me. You've always wanted me. The masked man chuckled. You give yourself too much credit. He dragged Amara to her feet, using her body as a shield as he backed toward the warehouse entrance. She stumbled, heart racing, mind screaming. Every instinct told her to fight, to scream, to run. But she didn't dare move. Jun Seo took a step forward. The gun cocked. Another step, the man warned. And she drops.
Yun Seo stopped instantly.
Their eyes met across the concrete. Amara could see it now. Pure terror stripped bare behind his control. She shook her head slightly, silently begging him not to do anything reckless. The masked man leaned closer to her ear. You see that look, he murmured. That's why you're priceless. He shoved her forward and disappeared into the warehouse with her, the heavy metal door slamming shut behind them. The sound echoed like a coffin closing. Inside, the warehouse was dim, lit only by flickering overhead bulbs. The air smelled of oil and rust. He pushed her against a pillar, keeping the gun trained on her as he pulled off his mask. Amara's breath caught. She recognized him. You, she whispered. You were at the penthouse. He smiled. Good memory. You work for Jun Seo, she said, dread creeping up her spine. Worked, he corrected. Name's Han Jae-won. Her pulse spiked. You're the mole. He gave a mock bow. At your service. Why? She demanded. Park was already trying to kill him. Why betray your own boss?
Han hrugget.
Because Park thinks small. He wanted to break Jun Seo. I want to replace him. Her blood ran cold. And me? Your insurance, he said casually. And bait. And leverage. Depends on the hour. She swallowed hard. You won't get away with this.
Han smiled vidare.
I already have. Outside, the gunfire intensified. The building shook as something exploded nearby. Jun Seo's voice echoed faintly through the walls. Jaewon, you won't leave here alive. Han rolled his eyes. So dramatic. He grabbed Amara's arm and pulled her toward a side door. Time to move. Your boyfriend is very motivated. She dug her heels in. He's not my... Han tightened his grip, painfully. Save it. They burst out into a narrow corridor leading to the back of the warehouse. A van waited with its engine running.
No, Amara breathe.
Han shoved her toward it. A gunshot rang out. Han cursed and ducked as glass shattered. Jun Seo appeared at the end of the corridor, gun raised, eyes blazing. Let her go, Jun Seo shouted. This ends now. Han dragged Amara in front of him again, gun snapping back to her head. You always did underestimate me.
Jun Seo fired.
The bullet grazed Han's shoulder, but it was enough. He screamed, stumbling back, his grip loosening. Amara reacted on instinct. She elbowed him hard, twisted free, and ran. Amara,
Jun Seo yelled.
She sprinted toward him, heart pounding, vision blurring. A shot cracked. Pain exploded in her side. She collapsed, the ground rushing up to meet her. Jun Seo reached her just as Han staggered into the van and sped away, tires screeching. Jun Seo dropped to his knees beside her, hands shaking as they pressed against the blood seeping through her clothes.
No, he whispered.
Stay with me. Stay with me. Amara gasped, pain stealing her breath. Did you get him? His jaw clenched. He ran. She laughed weakly. Figures. He looked at her, eyes shining with something dangerously close to despair. You're not dying. I won't allow it. Sirens wailed in the distance. She reached up, fingers brushing his cheek. You don't control everything. His voice broke. I control this. Paramedics rushed in moments later, pulling him back as they worked on her. He stood there, helpless, watching as they loaded her onto a stretcher. Jun Seo, she called weakly.
He grabbed her hand.
I'm here. Her eyes fluttered. Don't let him win. He leaned down, pressing his forehead to hers. He won't. As the ambulance doors slammed shut, Jun Seo straightened slowly. Min-soo approached, blood on his sleeve. Chairman.
Park is dead.
Jaewon escaped. Jun Seo's expression hardened into something lethal. Then the war isn't over. Min-soo nodded. What are your orders? Jun Seo watched the ambulance disappear into traffic, his fists clenching. Burn his world, he said quietly. Starting tonight. And somewhere across the city, Han Jae-won smiled as he changed phones, already planning his next move, because Amara Cole had just become more valuable than he ever imagined. The hospital lights were too bright. Amara drifted in and out of consciousness, the steady beep of a monitor anchoring her to reality. Every breath hurt. Every movement sent a sharp reminder through her side that she was still alive, and that staying alive hadn't been easy. Voices murmured somewhere nearby. Bullet passed clean through, lucky another inch. She tried to open her eyes. They fluttered, heavy, uncooperative. Amara. That voice cut through everything. Her eyes finally focused. Jun Seo sat beside her bed, jacket gone. Shirt sleeves rolled up, a smear of dried blood on his knuckles that didn't look like hers. His hair was disheveled, his face drawn in a way she'd never seen before. He looked human.
Exhausted.
Afraid. You're awake, he said softly. She swallowed, throat dry. Did I ruin your day? His lips twitched despite himself. You have a terrible sense of humor. Her gaze drifted to the fore in her arm, the bandages wrapped tightly around her side. I'm guessing I don't get discharged today.
No, he said.
You're not going anywhere.
She sighed.
Figures. Silence stretched between them, heavy with everything they hadn't said yet. She could feel his eyes on her, like he was afraid she might disappear if he looked away. Park is dead, he said finally. Her chest tightened. And the other one? Han Jae-won escaped. She closed her eyes. I knew it. He won't get far, Jun Seo said, but there was something different in his tone now. Less certainty. More restraint. Amara opened her eyes again. He wasn't working alone.
Jun Seo nodded. No.
He had access, she continued. Your schedules. Your people. Me. Yes. And now he knows I won't just hide, she said quietly.
Jun Seo의 stillzeitend.
Which is exactly why you won't be making any decisions without me anymore. She turned her head to look at him. That's not how this works. It is if you want to stay alive. And what if I don't want to be locked in a gilded cage? She shot back, wincing as pain flared. He leaned forward instantly. Don't move. See, she said weakly. Control. His voice dropped. Fear. She studied his face. You thought you lost me. His silence answered her. I saw your face, she said softly. When I went down, you looked like you were already planning revenge instead of a funeral. His eyes darkened. Both. A nurse appeared in the doorway. She needs rest.
Jun Seo nodded.
I'll step out. No, Amara said, her fingers curling around his sleeve. Stay. The nurse hesitated, then sighed. 5 minutes. When they were alone again, Jun Seo lowered his voice. Han Jae-won sent a message. Her pulse jumped. When? An hour ago. What did it say? He met her gaze. He thanked me for delivering you to him. Anger flared through her pain. He didn't have me. He had your fear, Jun Seo said. And he learned something important. What? That you'll sacrifice yourself before you let someone else die. Her throat tightened. I couldn't let him kill you. I know, he said. And that's what makes you dangerous. She frowned. Dangerous to who? To anyone who tries to use you. Jun Seo replied. Including me. She searched his face. Is that a promise? It's a warning, he said quietly. The nurse cleared her throat. Time.
Jun Seo stood reluctantly.
I'll be right outside. As he stepped away, Amara's phone buzzed on the side table. Unknown number. Her heart skipped. She didn't answer. A message appeared instead. You surprised me today. Next time I won't. Her fingers trembled as she locked the screen.
Jun Seo noticed.
What is it? She hesitated, then handed him the phone. His expression went cold. He's watching, she said.
Yes, Jun Seo replied.
And now he knows where you'll be. Her stomach dropped. The hospital. Yes. Almost on cue, the lights flickered. A low hum rolled through the building, followed by shouts in the hallway. What's happening? Amara asked. Jun Seo was already moving. Power disruption. The door burst open as Min-soo rushed in. Chairman, we have a problem.
Jun Seo turned sharply.
Talk. 2 of our perimeter men are down, Min-soo said. Security cameras just went dark on the east wing. Amara's heart pounded. That's this floor.
Jun Seo looked ahead.
Can you walk? She pushed herself up, pain screaming in protest. I can try. Don't, he said instantly. I'm not staying here, she snapped. Not while someone's hunting me. Another scream echoed from down the hall. Jun Seo cursed under his breath. Min-soo, get her out through the service stairwell.
And you?
Amara demanded. His eyes locked onto hers. I'm ending this. No, she said, grabbing his arm. Not alone. He softened for half a second. You've already done more than enough. Footsteps pounded closer. Min-soo shoved a gun into Jun Seo's hand. We're out of time. Jun Seo leaned down, his voice urgent. Listen to me. Whatever happens, you do not stop. You keep moving. And if you don't follow, she whispered. His mouth curved into a grim smile. Then I was never worth stopping for. She didn't have time to argue. Min-soo pulled her toward the stairwell just as the hallway lights went out completely. Darkness swallowed everything. A gunshot rang out behind them. Amara screamed. The stairwell door slammed shut, plunging them into dim emergency lighting. Her chest heaved as they descended, every step agony. Behind them, Muffled shouts and gunfire echoed through the hospital. Min-soo spoke into his earpiece urgently. "We have contact." "Repeat, we have contact." Amara clutched the railing, fear clawing up her throat. "Yoon-seo." "He knows what he's doing," Min-soo said, though his voice lacked conviction. They reached the bottom level. The door burst open. A man stood waiting. Not Han Jae-won. Someone new. He smiled slowly. "Miss Cole, we finally meet." Min-soo raised his gun. The man raised his hands. "Easy. I'm not here to kill her." Amara's blood ran cold. "Then why are you here?" The man's smile widened. "To offer her a choice." And somewhere above them, the sound of an explosion rocked the hospital, signaling that whatever choice Amara made next, there would be no going back. Amara stared at the man blocking the stairwell exit, her pulse roaring in her ears. He was calm in a way that felt rehearsed. Mid-40s, clean-cut, no visible weapon, dressed like someone who belonged in a boardroom, not the basement of a hospital under siege. "A choice," she repeated. "You think this is the time for games?" He smiled faintly. "It's always the time for games when people are dying upstairs." Min-soo stepped in front of her, gun raised. "Step aside." The man raised his hands higher. "Relax. If I wanted her dead, she'd already be bleeding." Amara swallowed. "Who are you?" "My name doesn't matter," he said. "What matters is that Han Jae-won isn't the only one who sees your value." Her stomach dropped. "There's more of you." "There's always more," he replied. "The difference is, I don't want chaos. I want balance." An explosion boomed above them, shaking dust loose from the ceiling. Amara flinched. "Joon-seo is fighting," she said, voice tight. "You should leave." The man's gaze sharpened. "Joon-seo is losing." Min-soo's finger tightened on the trigger. "Last warning." The man exhaled slowly. "If you stay loyal to him, tonight ends in blood." "His." "Yours." "His daughter's." Amara's breath hitched. "Don't say her name." "I didn't," he said softly. "But we're both thinking it." She felt sick. "What's the choice?" she asked. Min-soo turned sharply. "Amara." "It's fine," she said, not looking at him. "Let him talk." The man nodded approvingly. "You come with me." Quietly. Publicly unharmed. In exchange, the attacks stop. The hospital stabilizes. "Yoon-seo survives tonight." "And after?" she demanded. "After you disappear," he said. "New identity. New country. No more blood on your hands." Min-soo scoffed. "You expect her to believe you?" "I expect her to understand leverage," the man replied calmly. "Han Jae-won wants to own her. Joon-seo wants to protect her. I want to remove her from the board." Amara laughed, bitter and sharp. "You make it sound so clean." "It is," he said. "Cleaner than watching Joon-seo bleed out upstairs." Her chest tightened painfully. "You're lying." The man tilted his head. "Ask yourself this. If Joon-seo was winning, why would I be here?" Another distant gunshot echoed. Amara's hands shook. "If I go with you, you swear they stop?" "Yes." "And Joon-seo?" she pressed. "He lives," the man said. "But he won't come looking for you." Min-soo shook his head. "This is a trap." "Everything is a trap," the man replied. "The question is which one kills fewer people." Amara closed her eyes. She saw Joon-seo's face when he thought she was dying. Saw Se-irin's eyes full of betrayal and fear. Saw the driver burned alive because of a lie meant to protect her. When she opened her eyes again, she felt older, calmer. "I need proof," she said. The man nodded and pulled out his phone. He tapped the screen and turned it toward her. Live footage. Joon-seo, backed against a corridor wall, blood on his sleeve, firing with controlled precision as men advanced from both sides. Her breath caught. "Stop it," she whispered. "I can," the man said. "The moment you say yes." Min-soo stepped closer to her. "Don't do this." Amara looked at him. "How many more people die if I stay?" Min-soo didn't answer. She exhaled slowly. "Tell Yoon-seo I'm sorry." The man smiled. "You won't need to." She turned to Min-soo. "Get Se-irin out. Tonight. Far away." Min-soo's jaw clenched. "Amara." "Please," she said softly. This is the only way. Silence stretched between them. Then Minsu lowered his gun. The man gestured toward the exit. We should go. Before Jun Seo realizes what you're doing. As they moved, Amara's phone buzzed in her pocket. Unknown number. She answered without thinking. Yun Seo. His voice came through strained but alive. Where are you? Her throat tightened. Safe. Minsu says you're gone, he said sharply. That's not safe. She swallowed. Listen to me. You have to stop fighting. No, he snapped. Tell me where you are. She closed her eyes. I need you to trust me. A pause. Then, quietly, Amara, don't. I'm not leaving you, she said, tears sliding down her cheeks. I'm protecting you. By walking into someone else's hands, he demanded. Yes, she whispered. Because if I stay, you die. Silence. Then his voice broke. I won't forgive this. I know, she said, but you'll live. The call ended. She stared at the dark screen, heart cracking open in her chest. The man led her outside into the night, toward a waiting car. Behind her, sirens wailed. The hospital lights steadied. The war paused. But Amara knew better. Wars never ended. They only changed battlefields. And as the car door closed and the city pulled away from her, she didn't know that Jun Seo was already issuing orders that would tear apart every alliance in the city to get her back. Stay with me. Because the final moves are already in motion, and this decide who pays the ultimate price. The car pulled away smoothly, disappearing into the early morning traffic like nothing extraordinary had just happened. Amara sat rigid in the back seat, hands folded in her lap, every muscle tense. The man beside her didn't speak. He didn't need to. Silence was part of the design. Give her space to feel like this was her choice. The city slid past the window. Familiar streets. Places she'd walked with Asuran. Cafes she'd laughed in. Corners where she'd once felt invisible. She'd never wanted to be unforgettable. Where are you taking me? She asked finally. Somewhere no one is looking, the man replied. That's the only place left. She scoffed softly. People like Jun Seo don't stop looking. That's true, he said calmly. But people like Jun Seo also know when the cost becomes too high. Her jaw tightened. You don't know him. The man glanced at her. I know exactly who he is. That's why I moved before he could. They drove in silence again. Her phone vibrated once in her pocket. She didn't check it. She already knew who it would be. When the car finally stopped, they weren't in the city anymore. A private airstrip stretched out ahead of them, lights glowing against the gray dawn. A small jet waited, engines humming softly. Her heart dropped. You're flying me out? Yes. Out of the country? Yes. She laughed, breathless and broken. You really think distance fixes this? I think it buys time, he replied. And time is power. She stepped out of the car slowly. The cold air hit her lungs, sharp and clean. For a second, she imagined running, screaming, doing something reckless. Then she imagined Jun Seo bleeding out on a hospital floor. She walked toward the plane. Inside, everything was quiet, sterile, efficient. She took a seat by the window as the door closed. The engines roared louder, vibrating through her bones. This is it, she thought. This is how I disappear. Her phone buzzed again. This time, she looked. Yun Seo. Her throat tightened so hard it hurt to swallow. She stared at the screen for several seconds before answering. Where are you? He demanded. She closed her eyes. I can't tell you, Amara. I need you to listen, she said, voice trembling but steady. They're watching everything. Every call. Every move. His breathing was heavy. You think I care? I know you do, she whispered. That's why you have to stop. The plane began to move. Look at me when I'm talking to you. Jun Seo snapped, forgetting she wasn't there. A sad smile tugged at her lips. I wish I could. You don't get to leave like this, he said. You don't get to decide this alone. I already did, she replied softly. The moment I stepped into that stairwell. Silence stretched between them, raw and aching. Then he said quietly, if you walk away now, everything I do next will be to bring you back. Her eyes burned. Then live with that. The line went dead. The plane lifted into the sky. Below her, the city shrank into a pattern of lights and shadows. Somewhere down there was a man who had built an empire on control, now powerless to stop the one thing he couldn't dominate. Amara pressed her forehead to the window, tears sliding silently down her cheeks. She didn't know that Jun Seo stood on the hospital roof watching the same sky, phone clenched in his hand, face carved from stone. "She's gone," Min-soo said quietly beside him. Jun Seo didn't look away. "For now. What are your orders?"
Jun Seo ist Zeitend.
"Find everyone involved, starting with the man who took her." Min-soo hesitated. "That will destabilize the entire network." Jun Seo finally turned. His eyes were cold, focused, dangerous. "Good," he said. "Let it burn." Days passed. Then weeks. Amara woke up in a different country under a different name. New apartment. New routine. New rules. No phone calls.
No social media.
No contact with anyone from her old life. She followed every instruction, because survival had become a discipline. But safety was an illusion. She felt it in the way strangers looked at her too long, in the way cars slowed when they passed, in the dreams where Jun Seo stood just out of reach, calling her name like it was a promise and a threat all at once. One night, her burner phone buzzed. Unknown number. Her heart slammed into her ribs. She answered. "Hello." A familiar voice came through, calm and controlled. "Did you really think I would stop?" Her blood ran cold.
Han.
He chuckled. "You chose wrong, Amara. And now everyone is paying for it." The line cut. She stared at the phone, hands shaking. Across the world, Jun Seo watched a city map light up with red markers as alliances collapsed and rivals fell. "They're moving," Min-soo said. "All of them."
Jun Seo nodded slowly.
"They should be." "Do we tell her?" Min-soo asked. Jun Seo closed his eyes briefly. Not yet. Because love, in his world, wasn't gentle. It was war. And somewhere between running and fighting, Amara realized the truth she'd been avoiding since the beginning. She had never been alone in this. She had been chosen. And if you made it to the end of this story, bestie, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to Afro-Korean Chronicle TV, and drop a comment below telling me, what would you have done in Amara's place? Because some choices save lives, and some ignite fires that never truly go out.